We're joined by World Series champion David Price. How does that sound?
It sounds better than I ever could imagine. So to be able to have that title for right now, that's very special.
You came close very early in your career. In 2008, you get to the World Series. To win it now after the career you've had, not that it's over, but do you think you appreciate it more than maybe a young guy would have?
Oh, absolutely. You know, in 2008, when we were fortunate enough to get to the World Series in Tampa, I've been in the big leagues for 30, 40 days. I hadn't been through the 162-game grind with all the guys, and I remember thinking, at that time, like, this is really cool, but I still don't understand, what it takes to get to this point, and to go through the next, 9, 10 years of my career, up until last year, and to be able to get back to that point and to win a World Series that, it felt as good as I thought it was going to feel times 10.
You've experienced the shorter off season because you've been to the World Series, but how different is it, or is it different after winning it? Do more people want a piece of you? Are there more, does that off season get a little crazy because you are a champion?
It can if you let it, absolutely. I didn't do any of the post World Series stuff. I didn't go on any of the talk shows and stuff like that. I think after the season, I just kind of wanted to decompress. To be able to end the season on a good note like that, not just personally, but, as a team, both of those were a new feeling for myself. I never ended the season on a good note in the playoffs and my team lost, or, I just never ended on a good note, the way that we did last year. And I don't think my off season was any different, to be honest. It was definitely shorter, but, once the World Series was over and we got back to Boston and the parade was done, everything kind of stopped. We weren't around our teammates every day. We weren't talking to the media. We weren't. If you're reminiscing about the World Series or the playoffs, you're doing it by yourself. And I didn't do a whole lot of that. And to get back to spring training this year, to be around all the guys, it kind of brings back those feelings again.
That parade, you had said you didn't really know what to expect, and about midway through it, and it was incredible. You come around a corner, and there's just people as far as the eye can see. At what point did it all sort of hit you, how special this was?
Probably, if the parade was an hour, I don't remember how long it was. If it was an hour, probably 15 minutes in. I planned on, it was early in the morning. I'm not a big drinker, especially at 10 a.m. But probably 15 minutes into that parade, I told my wife, we got to get somebody to drive us home. I'm not driving home. So we had a lot of fun, and I want to get back to that point again, not just for the parade, but for that whole experience, in the playoffs and in the World Series. I feel like whenever you're going through that moment, you're not really reflecting on, what you've done or what you're doing. You just you kind of stay in that moment, and to get to that point and to have success that first time, I think it kind of overshadowed everything else. So I want to get back to that World Series and be a part of that again, so I can just kind of enjoy that experience a little bit more.
You had said you never finished a playoff run on a good note, personally or with the team. You did both this year. You got that postseason win as a starter, wound up 3-1 with a batting average against under 200. When you finally, first of all, got that first postseason win as a starter, and then two more on top of that, the Game 5, all of that. What did that mean to you personally in your journey as an athlete?
It was huge. I knew at some point in my career I was going to win in October. It stunk that I hadn't done it up to that point, up to last year. It took quite a few starts. It took a lot of tries, but I knew if I continually, got that opportunity that I was going to step up at that point, and to be able to do that last year, on the stages that I did it in, that was good for myself.
We see the moments on the field. We don't see the moments behind closed doors and in the clubhouse. Alex Cora told me one of the moments he was most proud of is when he called you and Chris Sale in and said, David Price is going to get the ball to start Game 5. He said, without even taking a breath, Chris Sale was patting you on the back saying, let's go get him. A lot of guys gave up some personal goals. A Brock Holt hits for the cycle, doesn't get in the lineup the next day. What did that mean to this team, that selflessness was evident throughout October?
I think that's just kind of a credit to AC and our staff. Our team really bought into to what we were trying to do as a group last year. And whenever you can have 25 guys in that locker room that have that same that one common goal, and that's what we had last year, and that definitely reflected on our play on the field, and just our entire team in the clubhouse as well. Just everybody bought in. That was just a special 25 group of guys.
And you came here with a new number, left it to us to figure out. Somebody finally got it right. That 10 for X, the Roman numeral for your son Xavier. Take us through that thought process a little bit.
The initial thing, Dwight Evans is going to be a Hall of Famer. I do feel like I don't want to live in anybody else's shadow. Not that that's a bad thing, because Dwight Evans was an unbelievable player. But I just want to kind of have my own chapter. But most importantly, I didn't feel like anybody should wear 24. That's how this all started. And then I was thinking about new numbers, and stumbled across number 10. Obviously 24 minus 14 is 10. I wore number 10 for Team USA, and then obviously with X being the Roman numeral for number 10. I thought kind of all just it was the perfect storm, I guess. And I've signed a lot of baseballs in the clubhouse with the new number 10, and I like signing 10 way more than 14 and 24. It's a lot easier for me to do. It's a lot cleaner. I think it makes my signature look a little bit better. So and it's less time consuming.
Awesome, great stuff. Stay here for a second. We'll take a break. Come back with more with David Price. Considering it's 2 years ago here at spring training, all the questions were about your elbow, and we just talked about what you accomplished last year for you personally. Considering that part of the journey, and there was would you get surgery, would you not? You were confident you could come back without. That it worked, and that you've been pitching like this again after all of that. How personally gratifying was that?
Very. Just our training staff, everything that they've helped me, kind of get through, the 3 years that I've been here, especially, 2 years ago. That was a credit to those guys. There was a lot of different things that were thrown at them, and they just they took it all in stride. So Brad and his entire staff, I appreciate all those guys. But from the day it happened, I didn't think I was going to pitch anymore that year for sure, maybe even a little bit longer. I remember the first thought that went through my head was I'm not going to be able to hold my newborn son. The day that it happened, I remember sitting on the couch with Joe Kelly, and I couldn't move my arm. It was as hard as this table, and it was just right here in my elbow, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. It hurt to touch it. I had never seen anything or felt anything like that, and neither had my roommate Joe Kelly. And I was not very optimistic, that night. Even when I came in the next morning, sitting in the training room, I wasn't very optimistic. But to get the news that I got from Andrews and Alcatraz, it wasn't the news that I expected to get. I might have tried to be a little bit tougher than what I actually am when I was sitting in there with them, whenever they were moving my arm through those things. But to be able to get through it and to be pain-free, especially last year for the most part, that was a testament to our training staff and all the work that they put in.
The ovations you got at Fenway last year, and you've pitched in Tampa, and Detroit, and Toronto. You've pitched different places. You've seen different markets. The passion for baseball in Boston, what has that meant to you? What have these fans meant to you?
It's definitely unmatched. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We play a lot of night games, but whenever we do play that day game at home, it doesn't matter what time it is. There's going to be 30, 35,000 fans, however many fans Fenway holds. You're not going to see open seats in the upper deck or in center field or wherever it is, and that's what you come here for. I didn't get to experience that in Tampa or really in Detroit. My time in Toronto for the 2 months, we played unbelievable baseball, so that kind of changed things while I was in Toronto. But to have it on a day-to-day basis for 3 years, although we've had very good teams the 3 years that I've been here, they always show up. It doesn't matter what the weather is. if it's raining and 35 degrees, or if we're playing an 18-inning game, there's still going to be fans in the stands, and there's going to be a lot of them. So to be a part of that, it definitely helps whenever you're struggling a little bit to be able to go out there and throw in front of that many people.
It can be a demanding place as well. You've gone through injuries, you've gone through stretches where you, by your own admission, weren't pitching as well as you thought you could. The media, the fans, that can all become difficult. Is it what you expected when you signed on to come in Boston? Has it caught you by surprise at all?
No. I mean, it was what I expected. I just didn't pitch as well as I felt like I should have even last year. I still haven't had the year that I expect to have, wearing a Red Sox uniform, and that's something I expect to do this year and for the 3 years after that.
Winning obviously can build some pretty good relationships between an athlete, a fan, the media, all of that. Does it feel different this year? Coming back having won? Is the spring different?
It doesn't feel any different, no. But I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think our team is focused on putting in the work and that everyday grind, and we haven't consumed ourselves with everything that goes on outside of our clubhouse. Especially the last year that our team that we've had the last year, and I think that's a big reason why we were as successful as we were last year. It doesn't feel any different, to be honest. No.
Is your relationship with the media better than it was? How do you feel about that?
I want the media to sit right here so they can answer these questions. I mean, I've answered these questions quite a few times, whether it's about the media or about our fans. I understand that the media has a job to do, and it's a competition in Boston, and that's different than a lot of other places, and it's different than every other place that I've ever been. But my relationship with both the media and the fans, to me, is A-okay, but they might say otherwise. I don't know.
People asked you, it's amazing to me, I remember getting there for the parade, and will David Price opt back in or out was the story. You said it really wasn't a difficult. Was it a difficult decision at all, or was that something you knew right away?
No, it wasn't a difficult decision. I mean, I don't want to pitch against this team. If I chose to go somewhere else and went to the National League or another team, the Red Sox aren't a team that you want to pitch against. It's no. I like our chances of winning ever since I've been here, and I knew whenever I signed in Boston, I was going to have a chance to compete for a championship year in and year out, and that to me is what I wanted. To have the opportunity to compete for a championship and to be surrounded by a lot of really good youth. That's the two things that Boston offers, and along with being able to get free agents. Whatever free agent we want, we can go and get. To have those three things, that's a recipe for success, and that was why I came here.
I'll ask you finally, I covered all the World Series here in the last 20 years, in 04, 07, 13, completely different rosters, or very different rosters coming back the next year. You've basically brought back the team that won it all. Kind of rare in this day and age. Usually those teams kind of break up because of free agency or whatever it is. How nice is it to look around and say, these are the guys that did it all last year. We got a shot here again.
That's definitely a cool feeling. I think it's going to help, throughout the season this year. Just to have 25 guys in the clubhouse that know what goes on in our locker room, around our locker room, and on the field. Just to everybody's going to be more comfortable. Just to have not only that playoff experience under their belt, but just another year of playing in Boston under their belt. I think that definitely goes a long ways, and to have that same core group of guys, and for the most part, those same 25 guys in that clubhouse, that's definitely going to help.
Looking forward to it. Appreciate the time, Dave.